I think, I don't want to say it's self-explanatory, but who doesn't want the stable wealth in their life? I think right now, especially with everything that's going on in the world, no matter what side of the political aisle you lean on, we can all kind of unanimously agree that it's not looking so great right now. There's a
Hello and welcome. This is Jim Forsythe of Citizens for Sound Money, and today our guest is Nick Prouten, and he works for LODE, which is a asset-backed digital currency, is what we'd call it. And welcome, Nick.
Hey, thank you for having me, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here to speak with you and your community. Yeah, thank you for having me.
If you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself, what your background is, and your involvement with LODE.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the Chief Operations Officer of the LODE project, which is basically a fancy way of saying I have my hands in all the pies, whether that's technology, innovation, marketing, business development. I basically play a role in all of it. My background, I've worked in tech for around a decade now, ranging from cybersecurity, entertainment, gaming, and of course, blockchain and sort of more topical app development as well. I've been in blockchain specifically for around 4 or 5 years now, giving on how you define being involved. And it's been a really exciting roadmap. It's very seldom in your life that you have the opportunity to participate on the forefront of big breaking changes like with blockchain. Usually I often find that most of us are sort of riding the coattails of these huge innovations, but I was very privileged to get in very early on in the space when it was still very much in its founding stages, and it still is early on, and I've never looked back since. So I've been with the project for around 4 years now, and it's been a fantastic journey to work with the incredible team that we have at LODE to make one of the most jurisdictionally compliant and powerful sound money systems in the world today. So back over to you.
Yeah, great. So and the last part, sound money systems. So why, something we try to ask everybody that comes on is why is sound money so important?
Oh, I think I don't want to say it's self-explanatory, but who doesn't want the stable wealth in their life? I think right now, especially with everything that's going on in the world, no matter what side of the political aisle you lean on, we can all kind of unanimously agree that it's not looking so great right now. There's a lot of questionable things in the work, and there's a lot of uncertainty that all of us are feeling across the board. Things are destabilizing. Norms that we've held for hundreds of years now are falling apart, and because of that, people have a great deal of anxiety. And the generic dollar system, the fiat dollar system that exists today, is designed for failure, right? We've seen what happens when you reach a point of hyperinflation, and we've been very privileged in the West to think that this will never happen to us. But even me up in Canada, the amount of inflation that I've experienced this year alone is incredible, and this is happening pretty much everywhere. So I think people are looking for alternatives. They're looking for solutions and assets that are going to preserve their wealth for generations. And I think that just everything that's happening geopolitically right now is encouraging and waking people up to this reality that they need hard assets backing their money.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think since going off the gold standard of 71, it's been a problem. It's just the problem hasn't been severe enough for people to really wake up, but I think that's changing now.
Well, I think it's kind of like that old frog boiling in water metaphor that you've probably heard before, right? It happens at such an incremental rate that generally we don't notice. But because of what's gone on with, the collapse of the supply chain and all the instability caused by the COVID pandemic, I think that it's exasperating the situation to a point where people are kind of going, oh my God, I should probably be looking at a solution to this or alternatives, or how do I protect myself? And it really brought that element to the forefront, I think. So I I don't want to say it's a good thing, all this inflation we're experiencing, but it is like, I think there is a silver lining in that people are waking up to this idea, to the reality that, you know, the US dollar has lost over 90% of its value in less than 100 years, right? Like
Right.
it's, you know, this is probably not best for your long-term wealth or your long-term health, right?
Yeah. So, so how does LODE work in terms of, you know, helping people to use sound money? Can you explain the system?
Yeah, absolutely. So at its core, you know, the LODE project is a community of like-minded individuals that have come together with the mandate to restore silver and gold to their historic prominence as money. And to do this, we've created what we call our bullion engine. And this is essentially where silver and gold come to meet the digital economy of the future. What we do is we intake hard assets, real hard assets, silver, gold, and we tokenize them onto the blockchain in the format of our AGX coins and our AUX coin. Every AGX coin and every AUX coin is 100% fully backed, audited, and insured. It's non-derivative, which actually makes it very different from a lot of other projects, both traditional and crypto in the space, that actually have a derivative approach to their projects. And that's fine. There's totally room in the ocean for both of these, but we wanted to create a project that was 100% authentic and fully backed. And so this digital gold and silver is exactly that. And every AGX, it represents 1 milligram of 1 gram of vaulted, audited, and insured silver. And every AUX, every digital gold token that we have, is worth 1 milligram of vaulted, audited, and insured gold. So now we've created these fantastic currencies that are, you know, decentralized, you know, and these gold and silver is stored all over the world. You know, we have vaults in Liechtenstein, Switzerland, Delaware, New Zealand, Singapore, Cayman Islands, Frankfurt, London, all over the map, right? So this gold and silver is decentralized, accessible, it works at the speed of business, and it's liquid, right? So you could probably today walk into a store, maybe a pawn shop or something like that, and buy something with you know, a gram of silver or 10 ounces of silver or a gram of gold, but you wouldn't get any change out of that. Right? It wasn't functional for a modern economy, but with these assets, you can now treat it like you do everyday cash, and down to 8 decimal points, right? And you can have the comfort of knowing that these assets are fully secured and travel all over the world, and protect yourself from, in many circumstances, from excessive taxation and unwanted unwanted costs. So there's all this flexibility and added benefit that you get from having these precious metals in this digital format. And because it's on the blockchain, it's not just physically sound and safe and secured in vaults, but you have all this cryptographic protection that comes along with it as well. So that's step one, right? Is creating this digital sound money. But LODE is not just the money. We've really made this silver and gold intelligent. We have brought silver and gold into the future and built a whole ecosystem of financial tools to make silver and gold really practical and functional for the world today. So this includes debit credit card programs that allow people to instantly send and utilize their digital gold and silver at local coffee shops, grocery stores, you know, with physical Apple Pay, Google Pay, et cetera, et cetera. We are doing lots of work with Web3 to become accessible to the decentralized finance space, and I'll touch on that in a little bit as well. We have our own mobile wallet technology, which is 100% non-custodial, meaning that you can completely remove yourself from the banking system if you want to, the traditional financial system, and store your wealth in digital gold and silver. And not even LODE has the ability to take away those assets from you. You are in complete 100% autonomous control of your funds. And then finally, we've also built an entire payments platform so that businesses, merchants, and individuals can take advantage of this new type of money and run their businesses off of it, right? So why settle to the US dollar, which we know is going to go down? You could settle instantly to gold and silver. Seems like a no-brainer to me. So this is just a taste of some of the things that LODE is doing to approach the restoration of silver and gold to their historic prominence of money. So I know that was a lot of information to absorb. Hopefully the value's coming through there, but I'll put the ball back over to you, Jim.
Yeah, some follow-up questions on that. So what's the blockchain technology you're using now? I think you're switching to Solano, I think. Is it ERC20 in the meantime, or?
This is a really, really great question to ask, and I'm happy you did. So our platform is actually blockchain agnostic. The way that it works is that we build integrations to new blockchains based on business cases. And because of the great work that is taking space in the decentralized finance world right now, and blockchain at large, there is this concept of interoperability, the ability to move your assets between blockchains with ease. And this will come more to the forefront as time goes on and the technology develops further. So we have our core assets right now stored on the Syscoin blockchain, but we are building integrations to Solana, to Ethereum, to Avalanche, and other sort of protocols as well, blockchain protocols as well, so that we can be accessible not just to one niche aspect of the market, but to the entire market, right? You need to look at this holistically. It's like these different platform blockchains like Ethereum or Solana, they're kind of like the Microsofts and the Apples of the world. And generally, when you're creating a software, you want your software to operate on both systems, right? And so that's why we've chosen to approach the project the way that we have, because at the end of the day, regardless of what blockchain it's on, the asset is the gold and the silver, and that doesn't change.
Right. So, and speaking of the gold and silver, so what are the redemption policies for LODE?
Absolutely. So our assets are fully redeemable. Legally, these AGX and these AUX tokens are defined as pickup slips for, or warehouse receipts for these physical metals. Presently, if you're looking to withdraw, there are minimums. The minimum is 100 ounces of silver and 10 ounces of gold, respectively, right? So you don't have to have both to withdraw one. You just, if you want to have silver, you need to have 100 ounces of silver. If you want to withdraw the gold, you need 10 ounces of gold. This is there in place for multiple reasons right now. Because we are in a growth stage, we do want to maximize the amount of assets that we have under management and increase that circulating supply as much as possible. But also, there is labor and service costs from the vaults, from our administrators, from our team, in order to make those withdrawals happen and ship them to wherever people are all over the world. So we need to make sure that it makes sense and that we're not passing too much cost onto you as the individual or us onto the project. So as the project continues to grow, it's very likely those redemption rates will go down. But right now, again, 100 ounces and 10 ounces respectively.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I thought redemption limits too might depend also on the size of the bars or the physical that you have in the vaults, right? I don't know if that plays into it as well.
Yeah, so we do redemption for 100 ounce bars, essentially.
Right. Makes sense.
10 ounce respectively.
So can you touch a little bit on, so I think what you talked about is great for most people that would want to use the systems, but if someone wants to invest in the system, what options are there for that?
Absolutely. So LODE is fantastic because it is a system at its heart for the people, by the people, first and foremost and always. And we have our what you can effectively call maybe a governance token, or our virtual equity token, our asset ownership token. That's called the LODE token. For obvious reasons. This is a fantastic asset for you to become a stakeholder in this system. And by becoming a holder, you gain access to regular micro payouts in our AGX asset based on the sale, the premium and the sale of our assets into circulation. As the corporation and as the project grows, this will expand to all revenue streams that the project has as well. So you as a stakeholder gain access to not just the profits from the sale and distribution of our digital gold and our digital silver, you're also gaining the benefit of any profit distributions that happen from the company from all of its 32 different revenue streams. So for example, to paint the picture here, we may sell digital gold and silver through our mobile wallet experience, but we may have automated market making liquidity pools running in the decentralized finance space. There may be people doing payments processing. and other people who are using our services for white labels, and all of those funds are going to flow back to you as the LODE token holder. So it really is an opportunity for you not just to become a stakeholder and play a role in the development of this platform, but be rewarded for doing so. And as we grow, so do the rewards that you receive from it.
Very interesting. And so I think that covers LODE pretty well, unless we've missed something. You can double back on that. But I want to get your general outlook on the space as a whole, the asset-backed digital currency space, because we've seen this kind of explosion in crypto. But with the proliferation of, all the different types of coins, I think having a asset-backed currency is going to be more attractive. And it's kind of the direction I thought we should head a decade ago. So what's your outlook for the space?
Yeah, absolutely. Just to quickly tie the knot on the LODE token conversation as well. Presently, if you want to acquire a LODE token, you can do so through our mobile wallet, which you can gain access to at LODE.one. Alternatively, we will be launching on the Serum DEX on Solana this year as well, and you'll be able to access LODE tokens through that as well. Now, to your question about the space in general, my general outlook, I think it goes without saying I'm a little biased, but I'm extremely bullish for this space. We've begun to only scratch the surface of what is possible with these asset-backed digital currencies. I think initially with cryptocurrency and with blockchain technology, everybody was very excited about the speculative sort of gains that you could see, those 30-40,000% gains, because we were still operating initially under this sort of guise of stability. But now that I think that we're seeing more destabilization and lots of inflation around the world, people are less focused on those colossal, ridiculous gains, and more having their eyes on how do I preserve myself for tomorrow, and secure what I've already acquired and make sure that doesn't depreciate. And that is really the strength of these asset-backed digital currencies. I think that right now, there has been some pushback on a regulatory level in some jurisdictions in the world on this, because it is the solution. I firmly believe that asset-backed digital currencies are the solution to the inflationary nature of what we're in, but that goes against the policies of certain nations and certain regions of the world. There is a vested interest in not having this kind of system because they end up losing control of it, right? And so there's this push and pull between people's needs and sort of what countries want to accomplish, right? And I do think that the future is decentralized. I think that as these assets become more and more accessible, the argument to not have them be considered legal tender, it diminishes day over day. I think the kinds of things that LODE are doing in the DeFi space to give people access to everything from asset-backed loans to creating automatic market making pools to doing decentralized autonomous organizations like the gold standard DAO that is creating a new gold standard using with AGX and AUX at its core. All of these interesting and novel and new ways to engage with silver and gold and hard assets in ways that we've never even thought about before is now possible and achievable and within our lifetimes. And I think all of this makes a very, very compelling argument for the asset-backed digital currency space, in addition to the realities that we're facing in the world today with instability and the need for stable, sound money in our lives. So extremely bullish on the space at large. I think that within the next 5 to 10 years, almost all transactions are going to take place on the blockchain. And that really it's just a matter of time. And you will, getting into the market now will allow you to see the most upside of that. So if you don't have a digital portfolio, I definitely say that even if you just want to wet your toes with some digital gold and silver, I'd highly recommend taking a look at building a portfolio yourself, because now is the time.
Yeah, I like your point about decentralized finance. If you think about it, the Federal Reserve, was the third central bank of the United States. And for most of our history, we operated without a central bank, and, gold was money. Different banks would compete for your business, compete for your trust. And that competition was a good thing. Sometimes there's bad banks, but for the most part, the competition, kept people honest until we centralized the system and then made all the risk, put all the risk together.
Well, I think you're touching on something super important, is that every time power centralizes into the hands of the small few, the many tend to not benefit from that,
Oh yeah.
right? Competition is incredibly important for creating a healthy economy, and it's no different for our money itself. Oftentimes what it basically amounts to is middlemen, right? And this is part of the really compelling nature of decentralized exchanges, and sort of what is colloquially being come to known as Web3, right? Even with traditional centralized cryptocurrency exchanges, what you're doing is you're parking essentially all of your assets into a digital warehouse that is managed by a big company, say a Coinbase or a Binance or something like that, right? And though you're effectively giving that institution control of your assets, and it's no different from a traditional bank, right? You don't actually hold your money when you have it in the bank. The bank gives you an IOU and says, yeah, we promise we're good for it. But as we've seen in modern history, banks are, not exactly always the most upstanding institutions out there. They've performed in very questionable behaviors, and I would argue maybe don't have our best interests at heart sometimes. So Web3, asset-backed digital currencies, and the developments in this space allow us to completely remove these central figures getting in the way between you and me exchanging money. And I think that is just such a powerful premise, and something that the world needs now more than ever, to bring power back to the people.
Yeah, and I agree with you in the sense of that this space, I think, is going to really grow, and having different vendors or different systems is a good thing. It provides competition, and gold is gold. It doesn't matter if one company's doing asset-backed currency, a different company, it's still gold, it's still money. Then they can just compete on feature sets, and the real competition is people in this space versus fiat, right?
Absolutely.
And so there's a huge market share to be gained by getting people into sound money. So I'm hoping that all in the space kind of work together to elevate the space. And that's one of our goals is, you talked about, regulation. I totally agree that, that's the real danger, is that, regulators try to shut things like this down. And we're organized as a 501c4 to help try to stop that when the time comes.
Thank you for doing the good work, and this is also part of the reason why LODE's assets are also decentralized, right? So I mentioned all the different vaults that we have all over the world. That is in a measure to protect ourselves and mitigate risk when it comes to certain countries or certain authorities trying to diminish our operations. And what's fantastic about blockchain is that it's very difficult to effectively ban, because of the anonymity that comes with it, because of the security and the cryptographic nature of it. You've heard the phrase probably in history that Bitcoin's been banned in China. That's something that they've tried to do, several times since 2017, but it never follows through because of how decentralized it is, and because of how this technology is built. So it's no wonder that traditional banks are kind of losing it over these assets. I know that lots of institutions still won't allow individuals to make purchases of asset-backed digital currencies with their credit cards, even because they're so protective of what they have. But I think it's a losing game for them, and I think that at the end of the day, we're all going to see the benefit of it.
Yeah, actually, our organization has had a hard time getting and keeping payment processors because of what we do, right? As you can imagine. And so we started to restructure to kind of make them happy. Then we realized, what are we doing? Like, we're headed towards this other system. Let's just use this other system and not worry about operating through the traditional banking systems. But there's no worse feeling than like having your accounts frozen for a couple of weeks. Like, you take some payments, then they say, okay, you got to verify this, and this before we let you touch your money.
Oh yeah, I mean, some of the payment processes are like, you won't see your money for 9 weeks. It's like, yo, I'm running a business here, right? I don't have the time to not see my money for 9 weeks just because it's something that you don't necessarily like as much. And this is the whole reason why we developed LODE Payments International, was because we see these problems, and we want to help people transition to a better system. So, LODE is very privileged to work with really progressive partners in this space that are helping people to bridge their way out of traditional finance and into the centralized finance ecosystem and the sound money ecosystem that we're building. So I totally feel for you. I totally feel for you. But I think the dam is going to break. I think we are truly on the cusp of something incredible, and that LODE and all the other asset-backed digital currency projects out there have a role to play in that. Right? I truly believe that there's room in the ocean for many different kinds of visions of similar products. And as you said, at the end of the day, it's the gold and the silver that's the important element here, right?
Right.
And I think that when one of us succeeds, we lift the entire space as a whole up, right?
Yeah, 100% agree. So I think that covers most of what I wanted to ask you about. How can folks get in touch with you, and or if there's anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, LODE is an extremely friendly community. We love seeing new people. You can head over to LODE.one, that's LODE.one, if you want to learn everything about the platform, about our digital gold or digital silver. If you want to join us in our Telegram channel, all of our links are right there on the homepage for you guys to enjoy. So come say hi to us. We're extremely friendly. We have ambassadors and support basically on 24-hour standby, ready to chat people up and talk to you about the benefits of sound money and all the exciting things that LODE is doing. And we really just scratched on the surface of it today, Jim. So thank you again so much for having me. It was a pleasure to get to know you a little better, and I hope that your community enjoys this. And who knows, I would love to come back sometime and join you again.
Yeah, definitely open to that. And I think you guys are going to try to get David Morgan on one of these days, so that'd be great too.
Absolutely. David's been an advocate of the project for a long time, and we love collaborating with him to move the sound money message forward.
All right. Well, thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Take care.